Hello, everybody. It is T-shirt Friday, and as you can see, I was working in my office, so you don't get to dressed up me. You got a little bit of lip gloss, and that's all you have. But hopefully, you can hear me. You can see me. Say hi in the chat so that I can know that you're here. Yeah. So, what do we think? This is the office setup. It's coming along, but hopefully you like it. And if this is your first time here, it's just a Friday. It is a Friday, which means instead of me going over questions, me choosing the topics, you choose the topics, which means just ask me what you want to know. Hello, Caroline. Hello, hello, hello. I'm so glad to see you all. Yay. We got M. Smith. We got Elena. It looks good. Oh, yay. I'm so glad. Now, there we go. I wanted to see. There you are. Now I can see y'all's reactions. Yay. What are we going to talk about today? Hey, Kira. Hi. What are we discussing today, guys? What are we discussing today? I don't know. You tell me. Hello, Dee. Hello. So, what are we discussing? Do. Howdy, Miss Victoria. So put what you want me to talk about in the chat. It could be math. It's your birthday. It's your birthday. You can cry if you want to. Happy birthday, Caroline. Hey, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Okay, that was, I don't know what tune, what key that was. That was terrible. That was awful. That was awful. I got nothing. All right, so the first thing that we had there was contracts. Is there a particular math problem that you wanted me to do? Right? And then I see agency, I see contracts. So those are huge topics. Give me a concept within those topics that you want me to do. Right? And hopefully my internet, we had a storm here, so hopefully my internet is not going to go in and out. So we'll see. Sorry if it does. But what within that do you want me to go over? And in fact, while I'm doing that, I think I can do this. Tell me if you all can hear this.
Clap your hands, it's your birthday. Clap your hands, it's your birthday. Happy birthday to you. It's your birthday. Happy birthday to you. It's your birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Cha-cha-cha.
So could y'all hear the birthday song? I don't know. You tell me. Could you hear the birthday song? That's the question. Yay. All right. So the first thing that said was, can I explain the difference here? And I'll put it on the screen. Can I explain the difference between a grant deed and a general warranty deed? So a grant deed, basically just think of it as in tiers. The general warranty deed is going to give you the most warranties and coverage, all of those things. And the grant deed is it's lower than that. So my states don't necessarily use grant deeds, but my understanding is that a grant deed doesn't have as much, like, with a general warranty deed, it's I'll protect you and I'll make it right no matter who caused the problem. And with a grant deed, it's basically kind of like the special warranty deed, or more like the quitclaim deed, where they're saying, look, I'm not covering everything. It's just limited coverage. So I don't know if that helps. I don't know how much more detail they're going into on the test. So if they were saying, what kind of deed would you want? If you wanted the most coverage, general warranty deed. If you want a deed that's going to offer less coverage, grant deed. Does that kind of make sense? Hopefully that helps. All right, and our next one is math. The next one is math and points. So let's take a look. It was Gracie. Yeah, it was Gracie. So here we go. Let me change screens. You know what I've decided to do is not, these are all the different lessons we've done, guys. You see that? It's just one infinite board. So that way when you all say, hey, what did we do? I can come back to it. So points. What do we know about points? We know points do two things. Well, there's two things we need to know about points. Locking that up. They have a cost, and then they do something. Now, the cost is 1% of the loan amount. And the do is it moves an interest rate 1/8%. So, if I were to say, hey, I'm buying a house, I'm buying a home for $340,000. And I am getting an LTV of 85%. And their bank is asking me to pay an interest rate of 6.5%, and they want me to pay points, 4 of them. So this might be a problem. And then it would ask, what is the total for points? All right. If I were to do that, my math would go like this. I need to take my sales price, $340,000, and multiply it by 85%, because it's our loan to value ratio. We're borrowing 85% of $340,000. So $340,000 times 80%, and that's going to give me 272. All right, that's giving me 272, which, you know, that makes sense to me. I like it. That's our loan. Now I got to figure out these points. Well, I know 1 point is equal to 1% of the loan amount, which means 2 points would be equal to 2%, and 3 points would be equal to 3%, and 4 points would be equal to 4%. So if I find 4%, I know my loan is $340,000, and I multiply it by 4%. I take that back. That was not our loan. Don't do that. Don't do that in real life. It's a number, but remember, that's not our loan amount. That was our sales price. Our loan amount was this right there. So 272 times 4%. And that gives me an answer of $10,800. That is the cost of points. So hopefully that makes sense. Give me a thumbs up if you're good with, okay, that's what it means. Like, or that's not what it means. That's how we figure out the cost. Let me know that it's, you know, that makes sense. It doesn't make sense. What do we got going on here? And it's 4 points, not 6. Well, I said it's 4 points. All right. I said that it's 4 points. Now, it didn't ask us how many points we need, but since it said we're charging 4 points, we're looking for 4% of the loan amount. That was just random. That was a random number, 4% of the loan amount. All right. Now, what does it do? So, if you're getting a loan at 6.5%, well, we know that loan is actually 6 4/8%. And we paid 4 points. So that means we started someplace over here. This was our start rate, and it was higher because this would be 6% over here, and this would be 7% over here. So every time we paid a point, we lowered our interest rate. In fact, if you started here and you paid 1 point, your new interest rate, and let me make it, you paid 1 point, and now your interest rate is going to be 6 7/8. And then you pay another point, and your interest rate was 6 6/8, which, by the way, is 6.75%. And then you paid another point, and your loan was for 6 5/8. And then you paid another point, and you got to 6 4/8. So you paid points. This is where you started, and because you paid points, you paid 1 point, you paid 2 points, you paid 3 points, you paid 4 points. That's what got you 6.5% instead of 7%. That's why we pay points. All right? That good? Hopefully so. Let me know if I need to go. And then M. Smith, you said how to decipher what it's asking for on a multi-step question. How to decipher what it's asking for on a multi-step question? Well, do you mean math question or do you mean something else? Right? Do you mean like a math question, or are you talking about more of a worded question? Because if you mean a math question, then I can do that. I just need to know to do it. All right. Okay, let me just try something. Let me try defining a multi-step question. Well, this was, you know what? Now that I think about it, this was a multi-step problem. Why? Because at one point, let me change colors. This was a multi-step problem because first we had to find the loan amount, and then second we had to find how much those points would cost us. Right? That's why it is a double-step problem, because you had two things to do. And when you say how to decipher it, I think what you mean is, well, how do I figure out which formula do I use, or how do I know what to do? Can we do one more points problem? Sure. Let me find a real points problem. It's commission splits. Let me find a real points problem. I'm sorry to scroll and make you all sick. That's loan to value. That's interest, payments and factors, outstanding loan balance. Did I not do points in this thing? Here. This is very similar. So we're doing number 24. Borrower A is purchasing a home for $285,000 with a 95% LTV with an interest rate of 4.75%. How much would 3 points cost him? So we know, and this may help you. Sometimes if you say, hey, this is the price, like pull the numbers out. The price was $285,000. The LTV is 95%. The interest rate was 4.75%. And it's asking us about the cost of 3 points. Sometimes if you pull the numbers out, what will happen is you don't have to come back to the actual question and get lost in it. Like, this is a pretty short question, but we know sometimes you get longer questions like this, like number 26. And those longer questions, you can get lost. You're like, what number do I have? What do I need? So sometimes by pulling those numbers out, that can help. All right, so where am I going to start? I take the $285,000 and I'm going to multiply it by 95%, and that's going to give me a loan amount. So $285,000 times 95% gives me $270,750. That's our loan amount. Now we know we're looking for 3 points. If 1 point equals 1%, then 2 points would equal 2%. We know 3 points would equal 3%. So we need to find 3% of our loan amount. I'm going to take that $270,750 and multiply it by 3%. All right, perfect. Yep. And then I'm going to get 270 times 3%, which is 8,122.5. So you said, okay, Kiara, that's good. Can I explain why a lender would want to assume any junior liens in a deed in lieu of foreclosure? So Andrea, can I explain why a lender would do that? Well, if the lien amount is small, then why not? If the liens, like if somebody gets foreclosed upon and they only owe, so let's say the house is worth $600 and the loan that is left is $250. Then they default. Right? Well, they might take a deed in lieu of foreclosure if the liens, okay, it helps if I do this, LIENS. If the liens are only like $15,000, well, they're going to make money. They're going to make money. Boom. Why would they not? Why would they not say, hey, just go ahead and give us title. You owe us $250, but the house is worth $600. So yeah, we don't care about that $15,000 lien. Whatever, we're going to make money. You're literally giving up the ownership of the house, and now that bank has a house worth $600,000. All right, somebody asked if I could use the T-bar method when figuring out this problem. I sure can. And somebody asked me to do a 26. So let's do number 26 using a T-bar. Jessica purchased a new home for $347,500 with a down payment of $75,000 and financed the balance for 30 years at 6.5%. If the lender charged 1 point for the, disregard that. You don't need me to do it with a T-bar? I'll do it with a T-bar just in case. All right. I'll do it both ways. If the lender charged 1 point for the loan origination fee, how much money did the loan origination fee cost Jessica? So what I'm going to do, this one doesn't really need a T-bar, number 26, but I'll do it anyway. I would take the $347,500. If this is the price and there was a down payment of $75,000, the difference would be my loan. So $347,500 subtract $75,000, and that gives us $272,500. That's our loan amount. Right? And if they charged 1 point, we're just going to times 1%. So that's going to be $272,500. Is that right? Yeah. Yep. 27.25. That one's not really one that you need a loan amount. And then, like another one other than discount points, but determining the LTV and another formula. One where you have to do LTV, but then they're asking for something else. Let me think about this. LTV and they're asking for something else. Let me see what I got here. Okay, I got one. I had to think about what it would be. Let me see if I have a example of one. All right, this will be kind of close. Let's do this one. A purchaser, I don't know why there's no number on this one. Nah, I got nothing. There's no number on it. A purchaser buys a home for $240,000 and makes a down payment of 20%. His lender agrees with the loan of an amortization factor of 5.30 with a rate for 4.5% for 30 years. How much will he pay for monthly PI on his loan? So this has multiple steps. So what do I know? Well, we know the price is $240,000. And we know the down payment was 20%, which means the loan is for 80%. This would be the LTV because you owe the seller $240,000. If you are borrowing, if you are putting down, put your money down of 20%, the bank needs to supply the loan. So that's an 80% LTV. 80% LTV. So what I'm going to do is I'm then going to go 240,000 times 80%. And that's going to give me $192,000. $192,000. That is our loan amount. So that's step one. Well, it's asking us for a monthly PI amount. So for step two, we need a formula. We know if we take the number of $1,000 borrowed and we multiply it by the factor, that gives us our monthly PI payment. If we take the number of thousands borrowed, multiply it by the factor, that gives us our monthly PI payment. So let's do that. First, we need to know the number of thousands borrowed. Well, if our loan is for $240,000, I'm going to take $240,000 and divide by 1,000, and that's going to give me 240. I borrowed 240,000. So imagine the loan was given to you by, actually, I take that back. Why do I keep doing that? I keep doing that, guys. Sorry, my brain is all gaffled. Our loan is actually $192. Sorry. Sorry. Boop. See, guys, I make mistakes all the time, too. Yes, can I explain what is LTV? LTV stands for loan to value ratio. So we're comparing the loan. In this case, our loan is $192, and the value was 240. So if there was a problem that says 192 is what percent of $240,000, you would do 192 divided by 240,000 and you get 80%. You're comparing the loan to the value. How does 192 compare to 240? 100% of 240 is 240. 50% would be 120. So 192 is 80% of 240. That's a loan to value. Right? So we know we have 240 thousands. Now it told you that there's a factor of $5.30. Yes, they gave you all this other information, but you don't need it. If they didn't tell you the factor, if they didn't tell you this factor, you would use this $4.5% for 30 years in a and one of these, this amortization chart. You would go in and you would say, oh, all right, it's 4.5% for 30 years, blah, blah, blah. And you would find your number, 4.5%, 30 years. Yeah, but we don't need to do that because they gave it to us. So, is this it? Is this where we were? No. Where was it that we were doing? I gotta find where we were. I done lost us, guys. Boom. There it is. So because they gave us the 5.3, we don't need the chart. This 5.3 is what we find with the chart. So I'm going to take this factor is 5.30, which means you pay $5.30 for every $1,000 you borrow. So what do? That means I'm paying $5.30 240 times. Remember, I borrowed 240. Good gosh, I'm going to get it right today. It's Friday. I'm in a t-shirt. What can I say? And I saw somebody said 192. I was testing y'all. We're paying $5.30 192 times. 192 times. So 5.30 times 192 is $1,017.60. This would be your payment every month. Payment every month. There you go. That is your P&I. So hopefully that makes sense. I'm hoping it does. I don't know. And Kiara, yes, you got that. So, yeah, we're good. Hopefully, yeah. So you all tell me if I need to go over that some more. Let me know if that helped with the idea behind two-step processes. Now, guys, we had to use two different formulas. We had a formula here. So if we take the sales price times the LTV, we'll get the amount of the loan. So that was one. And then our second one was this one. If you take the number of thousands borrowed times the factor, you get the monthly PI payment. We needed two different formulas to solve this problem. Oh, D can't hear anything. Can anybody else hear? Can y'all hear me? I'm hoping so. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Oh, no, you can mine. And you said, what did I divide 192 by? I didn't divide 192 by anything. Oh, sorry. Here. I divided it by 1,000. I divided 192,000 by 1,000, and then I got 192, and then I took that 192 and I multiplied it times $5.30. Yep. I divided it by 1,000. So hopefully that's good. And somebody said, can I explain the difference between debits and credit? Hey, Antonio, of course I can explain the difference between debits and credits. So think of it this way. When you use your debit card, does money go to you or away from you? Well, you already know that. It goes away from you. A debit is what you owe. If you have a credit, like a store credit, then money, is it coming to you or away from you? Well, if you have a store credit, it's going to you. So you owe for a debit and you receive for a credit. Does that help? Debits you owe. Sometimes I've had teachers that'll be like, debits are sad faces and credits are happy faces. If you're in accounting, that is backwards. In accounting, we do it a different way, but for this test, debits are when you owe money. Credits are for when you receive money. Yay? Hopefully that helps. Let me see what else you all wanted me to go talk about. Oh, goody, y'all could hear the happy birthday. Yay. Anybody else have a question? Anybody else have a question? I know you might have a question. No other questions? Yes, Antonio has a question. Yay! What you got? Type that question in the chat for me, Antonio. Remember on Fridays, you all can just come to listen, but I want you to come with questions or terms or something because I love explaining it. Which questions throw you off? Or maybe that was not a yes to you had a question. Maybe you're saying that those questions. Oh, I said, does it make sense? And you're saying, yes, it does make sense. I hate that there's a lag. I really do. What about IDFPR? IDFPR. I don't forget people. Really? IDFPR. What is IDFPR? IDFPR. Elena, IDFPR. I am confused. Somebody help me. IDFPR. Give me a clue. Is it a type of math question? IDFPR. Somebody help me. What is IDFPR? I got nothing. IDFPR. Elena, you got to help me with that one. And yes, I can do commission math and I can do an interest problem. KJ Dimple, do you want me to there's lots of problems involve an interest rate. So let me know what type of interest rate problem you mean. I can just pick a random one, but I am really curious about what IDFPR is. Huh. Elena, are you typing over there telling me what it is? I'll give you another minute or so, not even a whole minute, to let me know what IDFPR is. I don't know. Maybe I'm just having a mind fart, but anybody? IDFPR. I got nothing. All right. Let's do a commission math problem because I have no idea what IDFPR is. I now I'm very curious. So a commission problem. Got to scroll back up here. I'm going to do a random question. All right. Let's do... I guess we'll do number 2. I don't know if that's what you're talking about, but that seems kind of simple, but okay. What is the commission rate if the seller pays... Oh, when they suspend and revoke licenses. So Elena, that is state specific. So I don't know. Yeah, I can't help you with state specific stuff because I need to know what your state is, and then I'd have to know those laws. So what is the commission rate if the seller pays $15,125 when the selling price is $275? Well, we know there would be a formula. We know it would be, hey, if you take the sales price and multiply it by the commission, you would get the commission rate, amount of commission. So if that is true, our sales price is $275. It's multiplied by what we're looking for, and we would get $15,125. So now we need to solve for our unknown. So if we're going to get rid of this, we need to do the opposite. So we're going to divide by 275 over here. And what we do on one side, we got to do on the other. So this answer would be 15,125 divided by 275,000, and that would be 15,125 divided by 275. That's 2 million, Candace. I can do better. 15,125 divided by 275 gives me 5.5%. There you go. 5.5%. And then somebody said they wanted me to do an interest question. Those are some of my favorite questions, so let me see. An interest question would be... How about this one? Samuel recently repaid a loan. He borrowed money for 1 year, simple interest, paying all principal and interest in one payment. If Samuel borrowed $60,000 and paid $3,750 in interest, what was his rate of interest? And the reason I like this problem is because it sounds really complicated, but it is literally a one-step problem just like the one we did. We need to know a basic formula, and that basic formula is going to be, if you have your loan amount, you multiply it by your rate of annual interest, you're going to get an amount of annual interest. This is one of those problems where if you let it, it will confuse you, but it shouldn't. Loan amount times the rate of annual interest will give you an amount of annual interest. So let's fill it out. We're looking for this rate of annual interest. The loan amount is $60,000. And we know they paid $3,750 in interest. So this is going through and doing the exact same thing we did last time. We got to get rid of this $60,000 by doing the opposite. We divide by $60,000 on this side, and we divide by $60,000 on this side. So now our unknown is equal to $3,750 divided by 60,000. And when I do that, I get 6.25%. Yep. There you go. That is what we have there. Does this help? I'm hoping so. All right. So, Miss Victoria, you asked if we could do some practice questions. Of course we can. Of course. Wait, do you mean, Miss Victoria, practice math questions or practice like word A, B, C, D questions? Just let me know. Are you wanting random math questions or do you want random, hey, here's the words and then you choose the words that are the answer? Which one can I do for you? And I know there's a delay, so I will wait. It helps. Now you choose the formula which to use, but you're getting it. Hey, KJ Dimple. Oh, good. Good, good, good. I'm glad it helps. That's why I do this, because I know some of you all don't have your teacher all the time now. And if you don't have your teacher all the time, how do you get help without paying, for a full hour? Like sometimes people just don't have the money to pay for a full hour. And that's why I'm here. Right? Why don't we do one more problem? One more? One more math problem? And you know what? This document is how many pages? This document is, tell me what page? 47 pages. This document is 47 pages. No, these are ones that I have. These are just Candace questions. Somebody pick a page number. First person to put a page number in the chat. I will do one of those problems. Hopefully it's not an extra long problem. But you pick the page number. I will do one of those types of problems. You just tell me what page number I should do. 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 25. Caroline said page 25. All right. Can I tap here? Oh, look. Woo! Okay. This is a valuation problem. This is CMA math, which is good. This is good. It's going to be long, but let's go for it, kiddos. An appraiser is evaluating a subject property. So I know I have a subject property. with 1,600 square feet. It's got 2 baths. It's got a fireplace. And it's got a 1-car garage. And there's a comparable property that sold for $170. Contains 1,680 square feet. Has 1.5 baths. It has a fireplace. It has no garage. And sold 3 months ago. Right? So those are, remember, for these are going to be, hey, this comp sold with these features for $170. What would it have sold for if it had these features? That's what we're looking for. What would this comp would have sold for if it had the same features? And to do this, we want to remember my favorite, CIA and CBS, which stands for if the comp is inferior, you add, and if the comp is better, you subtract. So the first thing we're going to do, and I'm going to change colors here, is that you got to find the value of 1,600 square feet. Well, this problem is telling us here all of these values for everything. Right? So we need all that information. So 1,600 square feet, if I do 1,600 square feet times $50 a square foot, that means of that value, 1,600 times 50 equals $80,000. The value of 1,600 square feet at $50 a square foot is $80,000. 1,680 times 50 gives us $84,000. So the difference between 80,000 and 84,000, so if I do 84,000 subtract 80,000, that's $4,000. So there's a $4,000 difference. The question is, would we be adjusting this comp by more, $4,000 more, or $4,000 less? If it had 80 square feet less, would it have sold for more money or less money? Well, I think you know it would have sold for less money. Our comp is better, so we're saying this house, if the only difference was it had 80 square feet less, it would have sold for $4,000 less. Great. Moving on. The value of 2 full baths would be $5,000 because it's 2,500 times 2. 2,500 times 2, that's $5,000. 1.5 baths would be 2,500 plus 1,500, which is going to be what, $4,000? So the difference between 5,000 and 4,000 is $1,000. So there's a $1,000 difference. We have to add or subtract that 1,000. Is our comp better than the subject, or is it inferior to the subject? If it had an additional half bath, would it sell for more or would it have sold for less? Well, duh, it would have sold for more, so we're saying it would have sold for $1,000 more. Well, if a fireplace is worth $3,000, then 3,000 is here, 3,000 is here. There is no difference. We don't have any change for a fireplace. a 1-car garage is worth $7,000. And a 0-car garage is worth 0. So the difference between 7,000 and 0 is 7,000. So we need to say, hey, would this house that had no garage sell for 7,000 more if it had a garage, or 7,000 less? You already know our comp is inferior, so we're saying it would have sold for $7,000 more. Right? Then the last part is this appreciation. It is appreciated 3% per year. But it sold 3 months ago, so we're going to add appreciation in. What we're going to do, and I'm just going to move it down here, is it sold for $170. And if it had sold a year ago, it would have been for 3% for a year. That would have been appreciation for the year. So 170 times 3% gives me 5,100. If that's for the year, I can take the 5,100 and divide by 12. I'm going to scoot that up. So that gives me monthly interest of $425. And 3 months have gone by. So 425 times 3 equals $1,275. So there's appreciation that needs to be added of $1,275. So I'm taking the 170, subtracting 4, adding 1,000, adding 7, adding 1,275, because it's appreciation. So I'm doing 170 minus 4,000 plus 1,000 plus 7,000 plus 1,275. And if I did my math right, we're saying this house would have sold for $175,275. There you go. That would be how you do this problem. So, I think that helps. We did math today. What if next week I have, some of y'all asked me about some other types of random questions. If you've watched my videos on how to do question breakdown, I can prepare some questions for next week so we can break those down. But hopefully this helps. Bring some friends, because, you know, if I'm going to do this, I want y'all to be here and I want to be helped. And yeah, have a great weekend. I will see you, for those people coming to the math course tomorrow, I will see you tomorrow. And if not, I will either see you in class or I'll see you on the Prep Agent webinars. Guys, unless somebody has another question, which you can go ahead and drop it in the chat, I just want to say one more time, happy birthday to Caroline, because I love having her here in the class. So happy birthday to you, Miss Caroline. And yeah, just let's play it one more time, Miss Caroline. Let's hit it up one more time as I say goodbye, because it is such a great song.
Clap your hands, it's your birthday. Clap your hands, it's your birthday. Happy birthday to you. It's your birthday. Happy birthday to you. It's your birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Cha cha cha.
You said what book? Miss Victoria, that was one of my students in my everyday class. We have a book, you know, that we use for class. So that it wasn't, these were just problems I came up with. So bye, everybody. Hey, Trix, I didn't see you there before. Hello. Caroline, enjoy your birthday weekend, and I'll see y'all next time. Love you too, Caroline. Bye, everybody.